We've basically done it all in pro wrestling. I'm going to give you a few seconds to think of a few of these. For example, if you came up with Viagra on a pole, well, we've done it. How about upending somebody's funeral or crashing it? Well, we've done that too. And throwing a man out of a building has actually happened multiple times. So if you are a wrestler, you've got to be careful. Sports entertainment has also murdered a lot of people on our screens over the years, but actually there are some other storylines that happen to characters where you kind of go, you know what, I rather would have been stabbed right in the face. That was way too much. I shouldn't have said that, but hello, I am Simon Miller, and essentially, here are some of the stupidest things wrestling has ever done. Number 10, a rock bottom into poop. Now we all know the Attitude Era was one of the most successful periods for WWE, and yet when you do go back and watch it today, my gosh, they did some really weird things. This one went down on the 11th of October 1999 when The Rock was feuding with the British Bulldog, and I suppose to add insult to injury, the Great One took Davey Boy Smith and he rock bottomed him into some dog poop. Now, of course, it wasn't proper dog poop. I looked it up and apparently it was just a bunch of cake mushed together. But either way, can you imagine turning up to work and someone saying, oh, hello, British Bulldog, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. What we need you to do tonight is take somebody's finisher into some, nobody's around, shit. Kids don't use that word. I'm just trying to get across the gravitas. No, I don't think Harley Race ever got instructions like that. And the big question is, why didn't human resources get involved in this? Because don't forget, when we do watch pro wrestling, you're meant to take it as legitimate. So they just watched this in the backstage area and went, you know what, it is The Rock. He's pretty successful. Let's just let him do it. Also, why did Rocky do this? What did it benefit him? Now, Davey Boy Smith hadn't actually been back in the WWF all that long when this did go down. And don't forget, he left in 1997 after the Montreal Screwjob. I don't know if those two things tie in. I will leave it up to you. You can drop me a comment below, but now you know. Number 9, your pet spider died.
So before we dive into this What Culture Wrestling video that you have clicked on today, we've got a bit of a treat for you. Are you ready for an awesome slots experience? Yeah, I think you are. Well, it is time to spin, win, and feel the thrill with Crown Coins Casino. It is completely free to play. That's right, free, F-R-E-E, to play. And all you've got to do is just show up and enjoy this wonderful experience of playing these really fun games. Immerse yourself in a stunning, truly stunning, massive catalogue of Vegas-style slots. There is everything from classic favourites by top providers to brand new releases, and there's even some exclusive, one-of-a-kind games as well. It's also secure and trusted, so all your data and your transactions, they are safe and they are protected, so you can keep your mind at ease there while you're playing and having a good time. There's also daily bonuses, special offers, and mini games. Who doesn't love a good mini game? And that is just going to keep things fresh for you whilst you're winning, spinning, and all these incredible prizes. Does that sound good? Well, of course it does. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to click the link in the description, and we're going to start playing and winning right now. Let's do it. Oh yeah, did I mention it was free? Yeah, free, all this madness. So what are you waiting for? Get clicking and playing and winning right now, and you can just thank us later. Yeah, why not? You have a chance to win real prizes for free. Are you gonna try it?
So I think we can all agree that if a pet does pass away and you love that damn pet, it can be one of the saddest things ever. I mean, grief is a horrible thing, so once again, as we are supposed to watch wrestling as if it is real life, Eric Rowan, well, he pulled the short straw. It went down on the 9th of March 2020 episode of Raw, and yes, this was during a time where Vince McMahon would just throw anything and everything at the wall, including having Eric walk around with what was quite clearly a cage, but had a blanket over the top, so you were meant to tune in every single week going, oh baby, I can't wait to see what he's got. But he did reveal it, and it was a spider, and it also looked like a robot spider, but we never found out whether you were meant to think it was mechanical, or whether WWE was just being cheap. I mean, they couldn't use a real tarantula. Either way, this was rubbish. 1 week later as well, Drew McIntyre crushed this thing using Simba the Steel Steps, and I still can't get over it because this was during the time he was going to head to WrestleMania and become the WWE champion. But he's also an arachnid murderer. The funny part is that it only lasted 7 days before it did get murked. And the worst part, especially when it comes to reality, is that a month later Eric Rowan got released, so he never even got a proper payoff. This is one of these stupid times when you give somebody bad creative and then they get punished for the bad creative. Do you think Eric Rowan wanted to walk around with a fake spider and then pretend like, oh my God, he's my best friend in the world? I mean, maybe he did, but I doubt it. The man was huge. Just book him like a giant. Either way, the on-screen character of Mr. Rowan was probably crushed by this. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done it. Number 8, the dog food. So somehow we have to go back to things that come from dogs, or not come from dogs, but are associated with dogs. And you'll remember this because it came from 2019. And I often think about 2019. I think it could be the worst year in WWE history, and I'm not joking. That's because you just got terrible all-time skits, including this one when Baron Corbin was feuding with Roman Reigns. And you know the deal, Baron decided to insult Roman because his name was the Big Dog, including inviting somebody in a dog costume to come to the ring so they could make a bunch of dog puns. Honestly, find a kid today and show the kids some of these jokes. Not even they will laugh because kids aren't idiots. They know bad is bad. It soon leveled down to legitimate dog food as Dolph Ziggler and Baron poured this over Roman Reigns' head when Roman and the Usos got their revenge by pouring dog food onto Baron Corbin's head. Now, Baron has talked about this and said how awful it was, even more so because they used real dog food, so he was there tied to the ring post, trying not to throw up. Now, that doesn't sum up how stupid this situation was. I don't know what does. Also, do not forget it was Roman and Jimmy and Jay that did this, so this was essentially how the bloodline came together, and the answer was dog food. I wouldn't even go to watch this because you think it's so bad it will be good. It's not. It's really, really terrible. It may stop you watching wrestling forever. It's also one of the reasons Roman Reigns took a hiatus during the pandemic. He wanted to hit reset. He was done with it. Number 7, the farting gimmick. So as we have seen in recent years, Natalya is determined to come across as a serious wrestler, and even now in 2025 would like her presentation to be changed. Well, it's no wonder it's been a struggle, because back in 2012, I imagine that Vince McMahon invited her into his office and said, have we got a great gimmick for you, Natalya? You are going to walk around the backstage area, and you're going to fart. And other people will be like, oh my gosh, that stinks so bad. I'd love to tell you this had a payoff, but of course it didn't. It was just somebody walking around letting off wind. Sometimes Natalya would react to this as well, and sometimes she would totally ignore it. And I'm sure if this hadn't been dropped, mostly because the creative team realized it was absolutely bizarre, she likely would have started winning matches with it, and you wouldn't see me here today. That would be my line. I wouldn't cross it, and I would have quit. All this did achieve as well was second-hand embarrassment, because once again, what do the wrestlers of tomorrow do? They go to Natalya's school as she continues on the Hart Dungeon legacy because she's so good at being in the ring, and here she was just being, well, a farter. I try and think of words, but there aren't any. The only person that didn't care about this was the Great Khali, and then soon after this, Natalya and the Great One got into some sort of relationship. I don't know, maybe he enjoyed her farting in his face. Once again, I massively shouldn't have said that, and I hate myself. Let's move on. Number 6, eating your own dog. So we've had the squashing of a spider, and let's get part 2 of this situation when we go back to 1999. And of course, you likely remember this one too. The Big Boss Man and Al Snow were feuding when the Big Boss Man stole Al Snow's dog Pepper, or I suppose he kidnapped him. Once again, nobody called the cops. Though I suppose the boss man was the cops, so maybe he called in some favors. Eventually, the heel invited the babyface to his hotel to try and iron their differences out, and he fed him dinner. And rather than Al be like, well, that's a very strange thing to do, he ate this feud when he was told, haha, you've just eaten your own pooch. Doesn't it suck to be you? And yes, it would. That's kind of a form of cannibalism. I mean, it's not, but it still sucks. I mean, this is proper psychopath behavior as well. If you do explain this to a non-wrestling fan, you have to say that Al Snow digested his best friend. And then, yes, it led to that awful Kennel from Hell match, which even the Big Boss Man and Al Snow said, yeah, we didn't like it, because the dogs we used around ringside, well, they just pooped and humped each other, because they're dogs, they didn't know they were in sports entertainment. You also find it mad that here we are talking about pooches for the 3rd time. Why is WWE so obsessed with doing weird things with dogs? Now look, there is a funny element to this, because the Big Boss Man plays it so over the top, but let's just keep it simple here. When I tune in to my pro wrestling, I don't want to see another man eat his pet. It's just all kinds of flubbed up. Number 5, pig crap. Do I skirt around it? We may as well call it for what it was. And no, this wasn't the long-rumored punishment for Triple H after the curtain call incident, because that happened in mid-1996, and this one was going all the way back to In Your Haste 5 in December 1995. It was still a disaster because the then Hunter Hearst Helmsley had to be dragged down a peg or two, because he was so swarmy and snooty, I suppose. So he took on Henry Godwin in a hog pen match, or a pig pen match, or words to that effect. The loser had to be thrown into the thing, which means they rolled around in poo. Now actually, the horrible thing about this is that during the match, Triple H suffered a massive wound to his back, and if this had been real excrement, I suppose, that thing could have been infected. Now, it wasn't, or at least I don't think it was, I don't know for sure, but it was probably just some sort of prop but the whole thing was still absolutely abysmal, and once again, who was it for? Never forget as well that Henry Godwin was meant to be a pig farmer, so this was totally unfair and biased in his direction. And if you don't remember the Godwins, you had Henry O. Godwin and Phileas I. Godwin, or something like that, but their names stood for hog and pig. That's the level we were going for here. No wonder WCW was more popular. Number 4, kissing somebody's feet. So for some reason, if we do look into WWE law, they have ensured that you, the fan, know if somebody has to kiss somebody else's feet, this is the worst thing that could ever happen to them, and we should laugh and just cast shame upon thee. The one we're going to talk about today is when we turned Michael Cole heel, and yes, this was not a good idea at all. Now actually, Cole led into it and did the best performance he could possibly do, but it led to that match at WrestleMania 27 against Jerry Lawler, and some people still say it's going on. My gosh, it was long. What people forget though is a month after this Extreme Rules, we got Michael Cole and Jack Swagger versus Jerry King Lawler and Jim Ross, and then somehow we got a third contest out of this, so Vince McMahon must have been completely out of ideas. Now thankfully this one was short and sweet, and yes, the loser was going to have to kiss the other person's foot. Michael Cole lost, so he had to get down and kiss Jerry Lawler's Tootsie Toes, but Jim Ross also poured barbecue sauce over these feet. And listen, I'm sure those two concoctions don't taste nice, but if I had to suck somebody's toes, I would rather there was at least some sugary barbecue sauce. But to this day, I don't know why JR did that, and I regret talking about it. And look, yes, credit to Michael Cole, who did the best job he could here, but this was on pay-per-view. The WWE was asking for you to spend money to see Michael Cole kiss Jerry Lawler's feet, and obviously the heel turn didn't last forever as well, meaning that Michael had to re-earn his credibility, and that's the issue with making your lead announcer a bad guy. You have to trust this dude. I don't think this was a good idea, and I never think we should do it again. Imagine Joe Tessitore all of a sudden beat up Cody Rhodes. Ain't nobody buying it. Number 3, taking the stink face. I mean, it's impossible, right? Because if Rikishi is instructed to take his large bottom and stick it in your face, you're probably going to be having a bad time. It really was the ultimate humiliation. I don't know what it says about us as fans, because we cheered this. We thought it was a really good move. What? It got worse too, because the rumor has always been that Big Keith had 2 sets of ring gear. So if he liked you, he'd use the clean version. And if he didn't like you, well, he'd use the unwashed version. And I just think that is absolutely disgusting. You can't get on with everybody at work, and there shouldn't be some kind of situation when dirty laundry gets stuck in your mouth. There's also a report, and again, pinch and salt and all of that, we don't know the truth, that sometimes Rikishi would go to the toilet and not clean his ass properly to really send a message. I'm just going to pretend that is a lie, because I can't handle it, man. That is the worst thing in the world. I mean, once again, you wouldn't tell your non-wrestling friend this, would you? You'd be absolutely mortified. So yes, if you were a character in pro wrestling, I think you'd rather be killed off than somebody going, ha ha, here comes my took us into your jaw. Never forget as well that Rikishi was a babyface. Kind of sounds like something a heel would do. We've already mentioned it. The Attitude Era was a really weird time, and I personally don't think we should ever go back to it. Most of it is pretty damn bad, or at least ridiculous. Number 2, getting intimate with your own family. So I just threw up in my mouth a little bit, and no, we're actually not going to talk about the time that Vince McMahon pitched to his daughter Stephanie McMahon, oh, you're pregnant in real life, why don't we use it for a wrestling angle, where it turns out I was the one that impregnated you. And even Steph looked at him and said, father of mine, we're not doing that. So I guess Vince just found another way to work it in. Because people forget about this now, but in 1999, Mark Henry was going through sex therapy because he had a sex addiction when he told his counselor that he had had relations with his sister. He seemed quite proud of this too, and of course it led to the sexual chocolate gimmick and him having a relationship with 82-year-old Mae Young. All of this should just blow your mind. Who are we booking this for? If you tuned in to see this, you've got serious issues. But at one point, Mark said he wasn't even ashamed by this, and let's not forget that WWE kind of did it again years later, because we had the on-screen brother and sister of Paul Burchill, and I think Katie Leah Burchill was how they were pronouncing it, and they too started acting like they were getting it on. This makes me so sad. I don't want incest on my television. But yes, Henry basically laid there all like, man, I can get it on with any woman I want, quite literally. And again, I'd rather die. I'd rather be shot out of a cannon. I'd rather be stabbed right in the belly button. This is one of the worst gimmicks ever. Number 1, being cooked alive before a match. This one is a very real story, but I think it needs to be told just so we can remember how dangerous wrestling can be, even when you're not in the ring. Because when The Undertaker was making his entrance for the Elimination Chamber match at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view in 2010, there was a horrendous pyrotechnic incident, and you can see this right now. He quite literally gets set on fire, has to take his big coat off and run to the ring, where he continually douses himself in water because his skin was actually burning. And this is super duper whooper scary, and the fact that he did survive is an absolute miracle. Mark Calloway himself has talked about this as well and said he actually changed his entrance wear from a smaller coat to his big coat, and if he hadn't have done that, well, who the hell knows what would have gone down. So this actually was a fortuitous situation. Surprise, surprise, that pyrotechnic guy got fired because The Undertaker had said to this team, listen, when I am coming out, the flames are getting a bit too close to me. Can you separate them a bit more? For some reason, and we'll never know why, it's never actually happened. But yeah, I don't care what's going on in terms of your character or not character. If you're about to have a match and you're stood there going, oh my gosh, I could be dying, that's absolutely awful. Let's never do it again. Now, of course, I'm sure you've come up with a bunch of other stories that mostly WWE has done, or the WCW did it too, so drop them in the comments below, or actually TNA's got to be a doozy for that. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen to get even more stupid stories from the world of pro wrestling. But otherwise, my friends, I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one.